And it goes to the end. Anyways, welcome to another Mcjuggernuggets, the game showcase Ty show. In this video, which will actually surprisingly be over 30 minutes, will just be me. It's just the season 3 recap, pretty much like season 2. I'm intense.
Last season on the game. We last left the Malzar, or should I say ex-Malzar, relaxing in his bed, believing he had seen the last of the game. With Player 1 in the form of Jesse's dead brother, and Thomas Abraham being the new declared Malzar, it wouldn't be long until the peace would be interrupted. Sometime in the future, Player 1 has the troubling dream of Jesse blowing up on the ship. He awakes in a fright, tries to ignore it, and goes back to sleep. The next day, Player 1 devises an attack plan while Jesse is tasked with throwing Tom a surprise B-Day party. Because of Tom's lack of companions, Jesse's friends are Tom's friends. Jesse goes to complain to Mom about the whole idea of it, but gets sidetracked. Jesse asks, "What are you doing?"
Nothing. So did you get everything organized? Is Tom coming? Our cousin?
Yeah, we're all set for later. Why, you gonna come down and say hello?
Yeah, we'll miss it for the world. Just come on down there and yell, "Surprise!"
Weirded out by his brother's response, Jesse pretends to walk away to catch a glimpse of his brother's project. Jesse, not exactly sure what to make of it, brushes it off and desperately requests booze to make it through the night. TM says he has none, then takes out a bottle once Jesse leaves. Jesse opens the door to find an attractive midget holding his runaway dog. She gets pushed aside by Corn, Zach, and Pat, and the three go downstairs for the party. Extremely turned on by this vertically challenged neighbor, Jesse invites her in. All the guys play pillball, while Short Stuff twiddles her thumbs on the couch. Zach pressures Jesse to talk to her, but Jesse continues to be a pussy. Or coward. The subject of Pat's girlfriend comes up, and Pat gets confused. Also, Jesse asks the Zachs why they weren't at the Overachievers reunion. And the two just say they don't remember. Meanwhile, Player 1 contemplates drinking, makes the guns, and succumbs to the vodka. Jesse walks in on him, and the two decide to share. Player 1 and Jesse play past the bottle and start drinking like fiends. They each say why they want to drink, hear a random gunshot, ignore it, and then Jesse says,
It's hot, Ruben.
"I'm sorry. I'm sorry I shot you. I was scared and afraid, and I thought you were someone. I thought you were something else.
And he eat ya.
I thought I killed you, but I was just too big of a coward to try and save you. I'm sorry." Amused by Jesse's apology, Player 1 starts going apeshit and tells him to... Jesse tries to be slick with his nasty vodka breath and learns that her name is Hannah. He learns she likes the show Lost and tries to impress her with his Dharma jumpsuit. Meanwhile, the guys see that the stereo is still on and start playing some NSYNC, which Koretsu seems to be quite fond of. Player 1 starts getting cold feet and then starts puking uncontrollably. Jesse shows off the jumpsuit and Hannah absolutely loves it. She comes on to Jesse and gives him a massive hard-on. Hannah is disturbingly turned on by this and tries to go in for a kiss, but it gets cut short by the birthday boy. Everyone hides and surprises Tom, including Jesse's nasty boner. Jesse gives Tom his cake and present. Everyone starts singing happy birthday while Player 1 prepares to enact his plan. Player 1 goes downstairs and massacres everyone at the party. And Tom's head lands in the cake. Jesse's dad, with a strange wound on his shoulder, grabs Player 1 and throws him in the cage. Jesse sneaks out and starts freaking out about the massacre. Pat appears and knocks some sense to his friend. Mr. Ridgway comes outside and tells Jesse to take Pat to the hospital. The two start driving to the hospital, but hit William steadfast on the way. Jesse checks on Will to make sure he's alright, but Will freaks out saying he watched Jesse die. Meanwhile, Pat finds a sling, puts it on, and runs off. Mr. Ridgway and Player 1 exchange words.
Astute observation, Mr. Ridgway. You know, the only reason you're still alive is because I admire your courage to defy the Czar.
Behind the wires, no one knows what it's like to be hated.
Well, Player One, when you finally break free of that cage you've been trapped in your whole life, maybe you can get over there and clean up your mess.
Pat races to find Mr. Ridgway. Jesse and Will race to find Pat. Player One escapes the cage using the birdhouse, and Mr. Ridgway starts carrying a wounded Tom to the beam. Jesse attempts to get some answers from Player One, but receives nothing, so Jesse hocks a loogie on his face. Mr. Ridgway collapses because of the pain from his wound, resulting in Tom, the Malazar, regaining consciousness and running away. Player One bursts out of the cage, chokes Jesse out with a pool stick, and reveals to Jesse that he is no longer the Malazar. Player One then turns into Tom. Jesse and Player One join William outside, and Player One is not pleased.
What the hell is wrong with you, Player One? You just killed an innocent man! He was going to help us! Anyone who knows anything is expendable.
Despite the hostility, they silently agree to join forces, considering they're walking the same path. Mr. Ridgway trudges onward and ends up collapsing onto the dirt road. Jesse smells his brother's rotting corpse, and Player One makes a joke. The dynamic duo finally meet up with Pat, who's accusing Mr. Ridgway of being controlled by Player Two.
Player Two? I'm afraid that's impossible. He's suspended from the game for 2 months for breaking the rules. We should have at least one more day before he's active again.
When were you planning on telling us this?
Never.
Pat is still not convinced, while Player One decides to join in on the crucifixion just to stir up the pot. Jesse attempts to defend his father, but in the process realizes Tom is nowhere to be found, and his dad is suspiciously right where the beam of light appears. Jesse grills his dad and learns Tom is very much alive, and couldn't be that far away. Meanwhile, the Malazar looks at his wound and gets a strange flashback from when he was sick, coughing up blue blood a couple months ago. We also see this strange memory flash he received while he was sick. Tom faints. Back on the dirt road, Mr. Ridgway attempts to plead his case by explaining he's just trying to end the game. All of a sudden, the attention shifts to Player One as Jesse and Pat question his motives. Player One says he just wants to win the game. Back in the woods, Tom awakes to find himself in the hands of the ghillie-suited hunter, Sean. Tom learns his wound has been patched up, and that his Goldilocks are no more, thanks to a nasty sticker bush. Player One freaks out and waves his gun at everyone, saying,
Are you all just forgetting that I just killed everyone at that party? That I'm a player in this game. That I should be feared. I can kill all of you right now without even batting an eye. I am winning this game, even if it kills me.
Mr. Ridgway then shuts him down and steals the show. Jesse's dad performs this big song and dance about why the game is going on, what it stands for, and how he knows so much. Jesse and Pat buy into it, while Player One laughs his ass off. Mr. Ridgway shuts him up by saying he has to make a sacrifice. Player One submits. Back in the woods, Sean struggles with the idea of his father killing himself. The two bounce ideas off each other, trying to understand why he would do it.
Why would he blow up that weapons facility in Iraq with himself still inside? I mean, he could have easily triggered that C4 from a safe distance. Maybe he wanted to die. See, that's what I thought at first. My dad was the farthest thing from a coward. And maybe that's exactly what your father wanted you to think. That he was some hero and not just some coward. But he was a hero! He sacrificed his life for ours. But he didn't have to die. So I don't know if I'd really call it a sacrifice. But maybe he didn't have time to get out. Well, maybe it was a sacrifice then. See, that's exactly what I've been saying.
Nah, but not the kind of sacrifice you were suggesting, though.
What do you mean?
Well, perhaps he didn't sacrifice himself to be a hero, or save all our lives, blow up a facility. But what if he sacrificed his life for his purpose?
I don't understand. What are you trying to say?
Look, what I'm trying to say is that your father could have believed that it was his purpose to blow up in that facility, and by fulfilling it, by proving to himself that he could achieve it, then it would be worth losing his life over. And if that's the case, you should be proud knowing that your father died in the best way possible.
A true sacrifice. Dying for a purpose greater than living.
Meanwhile, Pat has some issues with working with Player 1, and the two comment on Player 1's magical loss of hair. Player 1 chalks it up to an update. Tom says to Sean,
Weirdest thing, after I was shot, but before he found me, while I was in the woods, I had these weird flashbacks of a couple months ago when I was sick. I heard that while I was sick, it felt like I was in two places at once. And I was also coughing up blue blood.
Pat, Jesse, and Player 1 split up to find Tom, while the Malazar ends up having to explain to Sean that his sister is dead. Jesse returns home to search for Tom, but gets sidetracked by his nosy mother. She accuses him of playing Xbox when he shouldn't have been. It was taken away for 2 months for him not doing his chores a while back. In the woods, Pat thinks he found Tom, when it's actually Player 1. The two find Tom's hair, but get lazy and decide to just go meet up with Jesse. On the dirt road, Sean seeks revenge. He stops all of a sudden, tells Tom to go help Mr. Ridgway, and gives him this wooden stake he's been whittling. Tom runs off, and Sean reassures him he won't be harmed. Jesse gives a sarcastic, half-assed apology and leaves, but Mama ain't no fool. She goes to stop him, but she gets shoved off. Jesse, fed up with it, corners her, punches her 3 times in the face, and leaves. Mrs. Ridgway gets a deja vu from the first playthrough, and now has somewhat of an understanding. Tom wakes up Mr. Ridgway as he gives this devilish smirk toward the stake. Back at home, Jesse's mom apologizes and gives him Mr. Ridgway's police shotgun that he kept under the bed. Jesse twitches and blows his mother away. Pat, Player 1, and Jesse meet up by the old campfire and talk. Jesse realizes he was being controlled by Player 2 and runs off to confront his dad once and for all. Pat and Player 1 follow suit. Jesse and Pat come to find Tom bleeding next to Mr. Ridgway with the stake in his back. Tom pulls out the stake and drops to his knees. Player 2 begins celebrating by singing We Are the Champions and swaying with the Malazar. Tom dropped. Jesse pumps his shotty. Mr. Ridgway shoots Pat, the beam appears, and Jesse shoots his dad. Player 1 finally emerges from the woods to find death. Lots and lots of death. He declares the Malazar officially dead, and that the game is null and void, considering Player 2 not only didn't get the body up, but also cheated, coming in a day early. Jesse rushes over to his dad, who gets a deja vu from when he was dying in the first playthrough. Mr. Ridgway manages to spit out some last-minute advice before he eventually passes away. Jesse then drops the shotty and goes to comfort Pat. The two reflect on what's happened. Pat tells Jesse to let go and end the game. Pat dies, and Jesse, not knowing what else to do, tries to return home, but gets stopped by Player 1. Please don't waste your time. Nothing you say will change my mind.
It doesn't have to be for nothing. You're just gonna let all your loved ones' deaths go in vain? All their sacrifices go to waste?
You don't know the first thing about sacrifice. You would never give your life for someone else or for some greater purpose.
You know, that hurts my feelings.
How can you even say that when you've taken so many innocent lives? And then there was this idiotic game!
Go home, Malazar. I don't expect you to understand.
Now I understand full damn well, Player 1. But just like me, you have no idea what the hell you're doing. And you're gonna let Player 2 enter the game, cheat, come in a day early, walk all over you and make you look like a fool. So what? Till it kills you?
The AC turned on.
Go home, Malazar! Go home or just waddle in your self-pity!
Go home? Now you want me to go home? There's nothing left for me to go back to! What the hell do you honestly expect me to do?
Come with me.
Come with you where?
I don't think I like where this is going.
Player 1 explains that much of the story of him being exiled was true, and he extends an invitation for Jesse to join them up on the ship, so that they can play the game together on another planet. Jesse says, The moment you catch me playing a game, it's the moment it's game. While player 1 starts calling him Malazar again, Jesse does the one thing he does best and starts hauling ass away. But there's no escaping the beam. Him and player 1 get sucked up while player 1's shell rolls on the ground and becomes dust in the wind. On the ship, the janitor collects both players and puts them in their vials. Jesse ends up on a completely new floor and comes across a strange sign. Jesse learns about Teresa, the ship's main computer, and both him and the janitor sit down to have a talk. The janitor presents Jesse with the player vials, explaining it's where they go when they're not active. Jesse goes to destroy player 2's vial, but gets stopped by the Tsar, who insists he should get a tour of the ship.
And you'll be in a world of your imagination.
Jesse gets a brief tour of the ship's main deck. He gets to see Teresa's mainframe, items for in circuitry, a new autosave, the infamous engine room, and a couple secret rooms in which he's not allowed to enter. One of them being the door to the weapons control room, the guns, the global ultrasonic neurosynthesizer. Jesse learns it was the janitor who picked both him and Tom to be the Malazar, so he flips a bitch.
You son of a bitch! It was all your fault! Why would you pick us? Of all the people in the world, why us? Because you were weak! Because you're more fun! You needed a purpose and we gave you one! End of story!
You have any idea what I've been through?
Do you have any idea how many deaths you're responsible for?
Deaths? Yeah, I might be somewhat to blame, but you wouldn't be living if it weren't for me.
What are you implying? That you saved my life?
No. I created it.
What did you just say? The janitor drops a bomb on Jesse. Not the real one, but my way of saying an important piece of information, revealing that he created the Earth and all the people on it. The janitor also gives Jesse a history lesson. I'm sorry, janitor, but you did just say you created us.
That's right. Where to begin? Callan was a tyrant. A tyrant with the ability to make matter out of nothing. That's what made him reign superior. Originally, he was a bacteria. But thanks to natural selection, he developed the power to create. Dissatisfied with his form, he morphed into what he called the human model. A perfect being, he said. Callan was so content with his perfect state of being that he began creating more humans, planets, even whole galaxies. As time went by, he became bored with his creations, reverted back to making bacteria. It wasn't long until he decided to start sending the bacteria out on immense ships with vast powers that he created himself, just to disease and torment and kill the humans.
Why would he do that?
Because he's sick.
So I guess that makes you a hypocrite then.
Wait, what? No. Listen, it's not like that at all, okay? I created your planet and all the people on it just to prove that I could.
Yeah, see? Exactly. You're just like Callan. Create us just to kill us.
But it's not like that at all. Here, look. The gradual annihilation of many Earthlings. That's what the game stands for. Callan's game. But we're not. I'm not.
We have word with you. Now!
Then we finally learn what the game really stands for. The Tsar freaks out over the janitor's jabberjaws and orders them to get an answer out of Jesse.
Tears of joy, right, Malazar?
Please. There's no such thing.
Seriously. It's said that when people experience true happiness or complete joy, that they cry.
Until then, I'll just be crying tears of sadness.
The two have one last conversation, and Jesse states, I'm ready.
You know, if you deny our offer, you might as well consider yourself dead.
In my eyes, I'll be dead either way.
Don't be a fool, Malazar. This is the most important decision of your entire life.
We're good to the final season.
You sure you're ready?
I'm going to be
positive. Jesse stands up to the Tsar and says, I'm not joining you guys, so you can just go ahead and kill me. Why are you saying that? No. I've thought about it long enough. If it's my purpose to die, then I'm just gonna stand up and face it! He throws the Malzar and orders Teresa to follow through with some protocol. The beam appears, and the three of them end up at an old dairy farm 5 hours in the past. Jesse remembers what William told him and realizes that he is going to die. Jesse also learns that the guns are going to fry everyone's brain in less than 24 hours. The Tsar gets really excited, but stops himself and shoots the Malzar. Jesse manages to get up, but gets shot once again. He falls, struggles, yet musters up the strength and courage to stand once more. The Tsar fires one last shot into the Malzar and leaves.
I don't know why, it doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind, I designed this product to explain in due time. All I know.
Meanwhile, the janitor comforts Jesse while he dies. Jesse says,
I don't want to die, gentlemen. I don't want to die. This can't be my purpose. Could you do something for me?
What?
You gotta stop him. Tanner, you just gotta stop him. Save the world, Tanner. Just stand up to him for once.
Save your breath now.
With the voices soft as thunder, as they tear your hopes apart, and they turn your flame to shame. My ring, it comes away, and we would live years together. But there are dreams that cannot be, and there are storms we cannot weather.
"Who are you, Mr. Ridgway?"
My life would be. So if I promise cannot live it, what if I'm not what you say?
My God. Look, I don't know if you're alive or not, but you're living at the same moment from the first playthrough. You want to stop the Zora and save your planet? Find a way to blow up the ship and end this shit once and for all.
The autosave activates, and everything reverts back to the first playthrough. The ship remains unaffected, however, so the janitor and the Tsar pull away from the surface to wait for the guns to be ready. Back on Earth, Jesse's alive again, with his sling and easy button. And so is Pat, but not for long.
I don't think I'm gonna make it.
Jesse props him up and Pat says,
Just end the game.
and then he dies. At home, with no influence from the players anymore, Jesse's mom finds her husband, as opposed to shanking him. The two know something's up, so they decide to check on the kids. Mrs. Ridgway finds UT shot in the closet and goes to take him to the hospital. The The beam appears one last time, signaling the end of the game. Jesse gets flashbacks of himself dying and enters the house to talk with his dad. Jesse's dad explains that he made the game shoebox to remind himself to appreciate what he has and not take it for granted. And he also reveals that he was once the Malazar, the one that got away. He states the ship used to spawn random items on Earth to make things interesting, and that
This one in particular, the time manipulation device, gave me the opportunity to board the ship by bending both space and time.
he also says,
Once I was on the ship, I approached the Tsar, a bacteria that appeared human. She was the one that was supposedly behind the game.
"What do you mean, she?"
It was her. It was my fiancée, Amy. That son of a bitch was inside her. I had never been so in love before. Amy made me feel so special, like I had a purpose in this world. We were supposed to get married and have kids. Don't tell your mother about this. She hates when I talk about her because she knew I loved Amy more than her. She has always resented me for that.
Wait, I still don't know what happened on the ship.
There was this strange janitor on the ship. Looked like my best friend. He gave me this golden gun and told me to shoot the Tsar and it would all be over. So I shot the Tsar.
What's wrong?
It was the Tsar, that son of a bitch. Looked just like her. I shot my fiancée. She died because of me. Because I was a coward.
Meanwhile on the ship, the janitor and the Tsar decide to drop these strange controllers and headsets. Jesse all of a sudden has a revelation. "You shot the Tsar?"
I didn't know what to do. He was fucking controlling her.
What did you just say?
The Tsar, that fucking bacteria, was controlling the love of my life.
Oh my god. The Tsar. The Tsar is a player too.
I'm going to wait for him. He's going to come to me.
Yeah, this will be the only recap showcase. That's the
Long time no see, Mr. Ridgway.
Or even Mr. Ridgway. Alright, we're gonna do this together. I'm gonna count it down, and we're gonna drop the controllers for good.
It's high noon. Ribbon. It's high noon.
3, 2, 1. What are you doing, janitor? Drop the controller.
But it just doesn't seem right, player 2. I never did get a taste.
And that means player 1 is the janitor. it suddenly becomes clear to Jesse that the Czar has been playing as player 2, and the janitor has been player 1 the whole time. They are one and the same. Player 2 drops his controller, but player 1 just can't seem to let go. With a push from player 2, he drops his controller, and the two shake hands.
You're right. I don't need it.
Two reactions come to your channel, really. Nice. Kid behind the camera, really bad news, and latest launch, backfire aftermath.
Nice.
Yeah. Latest launch action's been happening for the channel because,
Good game. Player 1.
it was going on between him and Tom right now. And Larry's been vlogging it. That's what that's about. And I'm not sure where Joe's been either.
Good game, player 2.
I mean, he showed up after that little log prank that Tom did.
Back on Earth, Jesse is still in shock, but remembers this whole time. They've been the players this whole time.
The guns!
Guns. The game's still going on, isn't it?
Yes. And I know what we have to do. The screen fades to black, and the words "to be finished" appear, implying that the show goes on.
Anybody ever wonder when they would see the thunder? Just remember when you come to the show goes on. Already the show goes on. Till the morning we dream so long. Anybody ever wonder when they would see the thunder? Just remember when you come to the show goes on.
Some sort of jagger.
Who's being had? Don't that shit that make you mad? They treat you like a slave. Put chains all on your soul and put whips up on your back. They be lying through their teeth. Hope you slip up off your path. I don't switch up, I just laugh. Put my kicks up on their desk, unaffected by their threats. They get busy on their ass.
Perfect. Everything's going as planned. And you'll have to clean up my mess when I'm done.
Just like every other time, right?
Yep. I'll be sitting here.
The fans trust, so even if they ban, I still never slow my plans up. Already the show goes on till the morning we dream so long. Anybody ever wonder when they would see the thunder? Just remember when you come up. Already the show goes on till the morning we dream so long. Anybody ever wonder when they would see the thunder? Just remember.
No, are you kidding me? We're just shooting into the woods, so it's not like you're like hurt or anything. Are you fucking insane? I am fucking insane.
Terrified of the world, now I'm on a world tour. I will give up everything, even start a world war. For these ghetto girls and boys I'm rapping around the world for. Africa to New York, Haiti then I detour. Oakland out to Oakland, Gaza Strip to Detroit. Say hip hop on the destroy. Tell them look at me, boy. I hope your son don't have a gun and never be a D-boy. Already the show goes on till the morning we dream so long. Anybody ever wonder when they would see the thunder? Just remember when you come up. The show goes on. Already the show goes on till the morning we dream so long. Anybody ever wonder when they would see the thunder? Just remember when you come up. So no matter what you've been through, no matter what you into, no matter what you see, when you look outside your window, brown long grass or green grass. Picket fence or barbed wire, never ever put them down. You just lift your arms higher, raise them till your arms tired. Let them know you there, that you struggling, surviving, that you gon' persevere. Yeah, ain't nobody leaving, nobody going home. Even if they turn the lights out, the show is going on. Alright, the show goes on. Till the morning, the dream goes on. Anybody ever wonder when they will see the thunder? Just remember when you come up, the show goes on. Alright, the show goes on. Till the morning, the dream goes on. Anybody ever wonder when they will see the thunder? Just remember when you come up, the show goes on.
With the guns almost ready to fire, the Malazar is the only one with the knowledge and tools to stop them. Will the Malazar be able to end the game? What will become of the players? Is Pat really dead? Find out in the epilogue, aka the epic long, or the game movie, titled Game Over. Just kidding, it's still on HD.
No, of course it would do that. Anyways, let's end this.